Welcome to another episode of Conscious Reconstruction. I am the host with the most, aka Tony Melbourne, aka Mr. I gotta cut the fan off. All right. Just you're so
my sheer
demanding.
hatred of my sheer hate. I dislike you. First off, you're the person who got me to the point where I dislike that background noise, because when you could hear that on an episode, you were very upset.
That's terrible.
Just like, why can't I upset? Is there a way I can get rid of that? Some of our voices are too low to the point where we exist on the same band as the fan. So, no. Unfortunately.
You know, I respect having to.
So, it's also not that hot, I don't think.
Ash was hot.
Oh, that's also not implausible.
And he helped.
All right.
We found a solution.
Yeah, fanning it up. But how are you guys? How was your weekend?
Birthday. We got some cheesecake. Stayed at the house. Chilled. Didn't really go out. I technically went out to Texas de la Brazil because a couple of friends invited me out, and one of my good friends' wives' birthday is literally like the weekend before mine. So that means we went out and we grabbed dinner for that. So we went out to Texas de la Brazil, ate a bunch of meat. And that was cool. So all in all, it was all right.
Okay. What about you, Ash?
My week was fucking terrible. I ended up in the emergency room.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I started dry. Well, I woke up out of my sleep because I had to throw up. But somewhere in between me trying to throw up and being congested, because Riley got me sick, I started choking on my own spit and couldn't get the shit out, and no one could help me. So I had to go to emergency. And then the doctor was in the room like, yeah, see what's happening is you got a good gag reflex, and what you're trying to get out is not coming the fuck out. Like, you're not really choking. You just got to cough it up. So I start choking in front of this nigga. He gonna leave the room. I'm like, what terrible doctor service is this?
Yeah,
I mean, me here is not going to help you coughing.
This nigga just looked
We
at
in an
me.
emergency room. There could be somebody dying 2 rooms over. You want me to sit here and look at you?
Cough it up. So
Get it going.
I was in the emergency room.
Okay,
Emergency room. That's exactly what he said. And looked at me. I'm like, all right, well, I don't know if this was an emergency situation, but not being able to breathe felt pretty emergent at the time.
I mean, not being able to breathe is technically like a peak level emergency.
It was
just
scary.
like, I cannot get a fundamental thing that I need to live.
Bruh, I was so scary, but did that. And my grandmother's funeral was Saturday. Went out Saturday night. Spent most of my day in bed. So it was very up and down. What a week,
sounds
guys.
like a rough week.
What a week.
All right, well, I worked. Spent the whole day on the phone. No, not today. Like,
Oh, okay.
a whole like working day dealing with like just different business stuff and talking to people and going through things.
Supply chain issues.
No,
Oh.
the second house.
Oh. Okie doke.
Yeah. You know, me and spoke to a realtor to get a showing for Monday for this one place, even though the place that I want is across the street. Spoke to her about seeing that. I'm supposed to get in there sometime this week to see that. Spoke to 2 different lending agents, so
Hunting for the best rate.
that, and I already got 2 pre-approvals now, so I can make an offer. So that's what I spent an entire day doing. So that was a lot.
Okay.
A lot of talking and giving information and sending information, and I still got a call like tomorrow and shit. So, but yeah, so just trying to do my best to running into that as well. think I might sell my car.
Why is that?
Might take the Lexus.
Oh.
And
Yeah, you're not really, unless it's something that you really want, you don't really care that much about a car. So unless it's a specific thing, the difference between what you got and what that is, probably not very much.
no, not at all. So I'm like, I could get a Lexus, drive that around. And then that would just give me more capital to like finance other things, down payment for the house.
Makes sense.
Not down payment, but closing costs. Closes around 10. So,
Oh,
but yeah,
just giving up on trying to sell the Lexus?
it's not going to get me 6 like mine would.
Oh,
So yeah, I could go for 2 or I could go for 6.
Eh.
Yeah. So
ultimately indifference for you.
yeah.
Well,
So that's kind of how I've been.
logical
spending my
move.
Yeah. So I took my trip to Ann Arbor. But other than that,
All right.
I went to the Muni lot. I got drunk. I chugged a beer.
Chug.
It was interesting. It's hilarious. So when you walk into the Muni lot, there's a big sign, and not a big sign, but a very clear sign that says "Open containers prohibited," and it gives you the ordinance. And literally from that point onward, all you see are open containers. I was so confused. I was like, "Why do we even have this? Why are we lying? What game
Keep
are
the
we playing?"
hobos away.
That is so terrible.
I mean, quintessentially, what are most open container laws like against anyway? They're for people who walk around with like bottles of malt liquor, and they out in the like it's to stop public intoxication because people don't really like public intoxication.
I mean, it's fair, I guess, but except for on Sundays when it's a Browns game.
Yeah, in general, they just
Then-
kind of let it slide.
Let a whole lot slide.
Most things.
The cops literally walked through with a ticket clipboard and then did nothing and gave no tickets.
They don't.
Why did you walk through?
Oh, as long as they're not being Bills fans, everything's fine.
That's what they do with the fireworks thing, right? They just drive down the street on the
Like
4th of
there are
July.
points in time when it's just like, this is just what
He said,
this
no one's
is.
answering my question.
Like, why do they just let this slide? Because one, for the most part, like the Muni Lots thing has been a thing since like
Then why didn't remember
Then why
the
put it?
ordinance?
Yeah.
why
'cause-
why impose the ordinance?
If we go
'Cause technically-
actively break it, and there's going to be officers that actively walk through the park, and just it was.
I
there
feel
was
like it's
3
really the
deep.
second one that's throwing you.
It was because there was 3 deep with a clipboard, like they were here to give tickets, and just
Gave none out.
walked around. And I was like, oh, maybe it's if you got red cups and stuff like that, they're not going to ask what's in it. But if you got like the
actual
big ass bottle.
the bottles, or you got the cans of like
Like Bud
Coronas
Light
and Bud
cans.
Light and shit like that, then they'll get you. Excuse
That
me.
was plentiful.
But that was a plentiful High Noons. A dude with a whole fucking box of High Noons. My nigga walked down the street with High Noons in his hand to the Muni lot. Pulled out a bottle of Tito's and Channel One out of his backpack.
That's not an open container. Those are closed containers until they are open.
They got opened.
I know.
In front of that cop.
Bruh, we took.
They don't-
I just didn't
They
understand.
don't really care that much.
I see.
Like
I
on that
see.
That's just
particular day,
selective.
there
It
are
was a good time.
always days where the rules are not enforced as stringently. And there was also a level of revolt when the what?
I'm gonna tell y'all later.
Also, there was a point in time when I think they were actually gonna try and like kick people out of that lot for tailgating, and then the entire city had a conniption. It's just like, oh, you can't do that. All right, we won't do that. What you guys? This fan base is the reason why we can't serve glass bottles at NFL games because you threw them at the referees.
Bro, that's all they got to look forward to. Because I don't know what be going on with the Browns. It always they start real excited. Everybody be so excited.
Oh, that's just sports in general.
Something just goes downhill.
Everyone starts the most positive possible.
I'm 2-0 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And not with my team, because they're 1-1. But in betting, I bet on the Steelers to win, they won. Bet on the Browns to lose, they lost. I didn't know the Browns. I was very afraid of the Browns game because they was beating the Jets.
It should, for all intents and purposes, it probably shouldn't have happened that way. But this is not that's a tomorrow conversation, not a today conversation.
It's just weird. I don't understand this team. I just don't get it. It just start off, everybody be so excited, and then
it has nothing to do with the team. It's just the fan base because the concept of possibly being able to do well keeps everyone's spirits high until people start doing badly.
Right
now, that's just the way life is in general.
No, this is some weird ass
culty stuff.
Specific. No, I mean they had a right. You want your team to win, so that's normal. The fact that the teams don't be winning is strange. Like
as of this point, I don't actually have to feel bad either way. Like they lost today, I was just kind of like, Like based on you guys' actions, I don't necessarily feel bad. You win, this is also fine.
But this is like consistent year after year after year.
Because it's a football city.
Year after year after year after year. I'm just
a football city. You're sold on hopes and dreams. The draft every year.
Like being beat. And it sounds like an abusive relationship to me.
It is. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it is.
Because he good on the inside, ain't he?
It's just like, do you realize, like, a mutual friend of ours was saying if he ever had kids, unless there was a championship that was won in Cleveland before inside recent history, he was not going to raise his children to be Cleveland sports fans.
Oh, wow.
Because it's just a long history of heartbreak.
Yeah.
It's just like...
just longing. I don't even know if
y'all be winning. And then LeBron James won an NBA championship. Just won.
Y'all be longing. I'm like, I don't know much about sports, but...
I mean, if things keep going how they're going, it's very possible for us to become more of a basketball city than we are a football city, because if, like, we're already inside the position where our basketball team is closer to win another championship than our football team is.
Well, good luck, I think. I don't know.
There's a lot of money to be made inside of Cleveland football merch or Cleveland sports merch in general.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. Now I can understand that.
Oh, like
there's money to be made more. So.
Baby. Oh no. Cleveland sporting teams, they're literally like the second highest grossing sports like memorabilia people, period. We buy stuff from the team shops. We're crazy. And you have to understand, like a actual jersey, they charge like $50-$60 for them things.
That's normal. I sold a jersey one time from like this hockey team for $100. No, $120.
Yeah, that's not.
So jerseys ain't really. I know motherfuckers will spend money on a jersey.
Yep, a jersey for a dude who might not even be on your team anymore.
Yeah, I know my niggas will spend money on that.
Seneca Wallace.
But nah. I mean, good luck. I think.
All right.
Oh, did you have a topic? Probably. No.
Did I have a topic?
Yeah.
No. Okay. I'll wait.
So.
I hate her so much. That means yes. But since we didn't ask her before we started, she's not going to do it.
I'll contribute, okay? We'll talk about I'll contribute to this one real good.
Let's figure out how the first one goes.
Why she's a bastard.
You know what? He just mad because he be copying my style. When we went to who was that? Benny the Butcher concert. Y'all know how much I like to wear round glasses. I got round glasses right here. Boom. You can see them in my purse. Guess what he pulled up in? Round glasses that were red on the inside.
Oh, he out here running around looking like Trigun.
Okay, I'm gonna let you slide. I come in here today. He was like, "What's your topic?" He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna talk about Andrew Tate." Real cool. He pulled up Valuetainment. I'm like, I was just watching him. He was like, "Ash, you need to get off my style, nigga. You been buying my style. Oh my god."
You jocking my style.
Yes.
I've
You
watched
jocking my
this
swagger.
for
I like that
years
shit now.
at this point.
And this is not the first time we come down here, and like the recommendeds it be mostly on like finances. Like he watched Minority Mindset, and I watch him too. This happened plenty of times. I'm like,
Because you just copy. It's fine. I respect it.
no, it's okay.
Oh, y'all just like to riff off of each other.
No,
I'm the only original person
He is doing it
here.
to me. He is doing it to me.
It is fine that you guys lack originality.
Charles is taking shots. And that's fine.
The couch people just like to riff off of each other. It's fine.
It's your birthday weekend.
Right, we gonna let you.
I bought you a gift.
on this one.
It's a tool to further my war.
Yeah. Yeah, your war gifts.
Don't forget,
say
just because
why.
I didn't say anything about it at the beginning of this week doesn't mean I'm still about it. I still have the wound. It's still there. I see it.
Called it a wound.
That is a wound.
I can't
That's
see
serious.
it.
You see that red dot against my perfect fucking complexion? I'm going to ruin these
perfect
people.
fucking
complexion.
Do you realize I am like throughout my entire life as a teenager, I didn't break out. I didn't get zits, no bumps, no nada.
Mm-hmm.
The worst I had was dry skin, and that stopped happening too. And this creature comes on and mars
His
my
skin is
perfect
supple. Y'all heard him say it? His
damn
skin
straight
is supple. He has supple ass skin, and he mad that
It's
fucking wash.
soft. It's one of my very many strong points.
Stop saying
That and freckles.
that. We about to get in the manhood. This nigga said his skin is soft.
What y'all boy Andrew Tate gonna have a problem with that, couch kids?
Why he be calling us couch kids? Like, why?
That's
he,
okay.
He's giving
That's
us a
what.
name.
Listen, every group I've ever been in, I've been with the badass niggas. Like, I'm not joking. It's always been Ashley has gravitated towards like the misfits of the. Even when I was in the mental hospital, I was in the group
What?
of kids that was fucked up.
So you in the
Just
bad
like, I
kids.
found the
other-
misfits
Yes.
amongst the misfits.
A bunch of misfits. I don't know what it is about me because they funny as fuck. They funny and they do what they want over here. You other
So you
niggas.
live vicariously.
No.
So do you be doing what you want?
Sometimes.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
so what we doing? What's going
Oh,
on?
she said talk about manhood. Don't act
don't
like
know.
you didn't know because you said it was a very
Anyway.
charged.
Soft,
it's a very
supple skin can be a
loaded.
part of manhood.
Why
I'm
is it
sorry.
loaded?
Because it means different things to different people. So it means when you say it, it can.
What does it mean to you?
I don't really seek to define it. I'm a man. I don't really need any particular hood to describe what I am. I don't really put that much thought into things like that. I just don't.
So
I
do you
live.
think that there's things that you should do because you're a man?
I guess. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything particular thing that I do because I'm a man or I do it because it's me, because that, like, when I ascribe things like that and then you go talk to other men, then they do things very differently. And it's just like, maybe that's just a me thing.
Well, what about like paying all the bills or making sure the bills are paid for the household?
Oh, I mean, I don't know how I would do that right now.
In general, do you aspire to do that or just like no?
I mean, based on my job and what I'm probably going to earn throughout my life, I will probably always be able to maintain the point where I can pay all the bills. Now, depending upon the way I set up or my relationship, it depends upon the way that is going to run. Like, I don't really see myself having a stay-at-home wife as a thing. Or a stay-at-home mom. I don't really see that being a thing. Like, I don't know why that thing doesn't necessarily jive with me. But it's just never a thing that has been.
You're definitely not with that.
I don't know. It's just like,
I mean, that's fine.
I don't know why I'm not. Maybe just because the women around me were never also that. So it means I've never actually seen the possible benefits of it.
For me, stay-at-home mom never realistically means that she's not doing
No,
something that is like of value. Like we could be flipping houses and we go in there and we hang drywall, and we have the time to do that because what I do brings in an income, and you maintain the household and this business. So for me, it can just operate.
Even when you exist, when your wife is a stay-at-home mom, it does not necessarily mean that you do not have, like, you're a stay-at-home mom in the traditional facet, but it doesn't mean that you're not doing other things that earn money.
Yeah.
Right. Like her priority would to be this, like flipping houses ain't really a quote unquote priority. That's more so mine. But I'm glad that you helped me with this. I guess would be more so maybe that's what he's trying to say.
Or even if it's like both of our priorities, like, all right, so we want to flip houses, and I am at a position where I can finance our lifestyle right now.
Like, you can
I
go,
can pay
you
the
can do the
bills.
work,
And we can start looking for property.
and you can
They
coordinate
get it.
this part. But I wouldn't even qualify that as a stay-at-home mom personally. Like, maybe my concept of stay-at-home mom is
Yeah,
the
like
thing
in the
that is
traditional
flawed.
I mean,
sense.
Because
I
I'm
was
thinking
thinking-
about person. I mean, even if you think about back in the day when mom used to stay on the farm, that, like, the stay-at-home mom then was still like, yo, you working like a Hebrew slave. You over the washboard. You're hanging stuff up. You probably got a side hustle of doing everybody else's laundry that's around here.
Yeah, so that's why I like.
So like it'd be like the 1950s version more so.
Like,
where
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like Judy Jetson type shit. It's just
that's
like you
in
just
his
kind of
mind as a
around.
stay-at-home mom, which, you know, for all intents and purposes, that's traditional, right?
Yeah.
Well, see,
it's-
I don't mind that, but I just know that I would have other side hustles, and then I'd want my partner to be somewhat interested and aligned with like that ambitious side of me. And so for them to be included in that would only make sense. And so it just doesn't seem like you're probably 90% of your time is free, because if you're looking for properties, maybe you're out driving around for a couple hours a day, or
still out here
maybe
doing
you're sitting
stuff.
online
But-
most of the time.
I mean, maybe it is me.
It doesn't have to be like super intensive, like a traditional 9 to 5 where you have deadlines,
Yeah.
freedoms, and like.
I'm not even
availability
saying
is
you have
different.
to be like a traditional 9 to 5, or you got to go out and work a 9 to 5. You could be running your own business. You could be
Oh, okay.
like doing a plethora of things.
But you said somebody
But
is just
I
not
just
doing
can't-
anything.
Maybe it is me trying to preemptively cut something off that I can see of a problem, because a lot of stay-at-home moms or a lot of people who just purely boil their life down to just, I am the person who holds the family together. I see a lot of those women come back as super jaded because they see it as like, I have put myself on the back burner to such a degree that I've lost myself. And then
Yeah.
some
Well,
of the
yeah, see, no,
time,
I wouldn't want to do that, but I think that a lot of those women were kind of like pushed into you had a kid, and so you need to be the homemaker lifestyle, where I wouldn't
Right.
want to force that on someone. I would want to like engage with someone who was like more aligned with, hey, this is what I'm aligned with too as a lifestyle moving forward. Like, not that, hey, I'm completely opposed with that. I want to be working, and then me like, nah, but quit your job. Like that, I can see, yeah, coming back and feeling like, hey, I quit, lost my career into the things that I really like valued to have kids and shit. Like,
Right. Because I always wondered about those women. Like, I understand getting bored. And believe me, I've been in the mind state where you have to be a mom and blah, blah, blah before you could be a whole complete person, when really that's only like a sliver of you.
that is a facet of you as a person. It is not, you know, how overall ad nauseum, I necessarily don't like people's who have their sexuality as their personality type. I would classify being a mom is not a personality. It
It's
is a
not.
piece of you. And I
Yeah.
get sometimes it is a very large piece depending upon these different things, but it
It's
is
a
not
job.
the whole, it is not the whole, an entire part of the whole. And when you over like implicate, or you over focus on one part of the pie, you tend to lose yourself as a whole, and you have to
Yeah.
rediscover yourself.
It's a role. Like, my mother don't know how to not be a mom. And that's why she just always over mothering. Everything is, I'll take care of it. She just don't know how to put herself in the role of, you know, who Sherry is. She she can't do it. Like, it just don't click for her. I don't know if it's just not meant for her in this lifetime, but she just can't click over from, well, this is what brings me fulfillment. You know, I'm going to go out and I'm going to meet new people and all that stuff. She is just waiting to be
Has
a mom.
your mom ever not had one of the kids living inside of her house?
Yeah. For a period of time, it was empty from like, what? Yeah, for a good chunk of maybe 3 years, probably.
Oh, that's one thing that I see is people like that, but she's had that separation point. So it's like,
Yeah, she was like, I cried when you first moved out. I was like, oh.
Jesus Christ.
She just doesn't know how. And like establishing that separation with her, it'd be kind of hard. You'd be like, Mom, I'm not talking with you about this.
I've been thinking about moving out of our place currently, and it's just like, because now that my nephew's there, is just like, oh, the way that this place was definitely set up for 3 people now, and there's 4 people here, and there's not 4 people kind of space. So it's like, you know, I might run off and get myself like a studio someplace, because I don't really need that much space.
Uh-huh.
So I'll go get a studio and go do that. And then, depending upon, as long as everything keeps going well, it's just like I don't know if that's a thing that they haven't thought about me actually doing, because they looked at me like, huh? What are you talking about? Yeah, this is a thing that I've kind of been passively thinking of in the back of my head since he's been here, because I know there just ain't enough space for all of us.
Yeah.
And they sitting up here like, yeah, it's like, y'all can't opt into something and just assume that I'm going to be here for it 100%. It's like, I'm all for helping my family and all that other stuff. But I also got to make sure I'm straight myself. And I kind of need space, and it's about time for me to get my own space. And I'm moving towards being in the financial position to be able to have that space for myself. So guys, I might just go out and, I mean, at that point, I was just like, I'll buy a new bed. I'll move it into there. I have a lot of the random stuff that I want already. Probably get a new desk.
That's a good space for you.
And just get a small studio and just kind of chill there. But it is not like, and I'm still probably going to move somewhat close by, but probably just not going to be here all the time. I'll probably stop by if you need some help. Tell me you guys need help. But like, honestly, my bills keep on going up for existing here.
It makes more sense to have my own now.
Well, it's just like, it's not even that. It's just like, as I take over more and more bills for the household and my cost keeps on increasing, it's just like, I'm buying more food because there's more people there. I'm spending more on electricity because there's more people there. I'm spending more on water because there's more people there. I don't actually even want cable.
Right.
So that means quintessentially the only things that I really see left as necessities that I'm not paying for already is gas and I'm about to take over water.
Okay.
And so gas and internet, those are the only 2 things I'm not paying for myself. So it's just like, I mean, for all intents and purposes, I basically live on my own with 2 other people here. Or 3 other people here. I buy my own food. You guys eat my food. And then you say you don't eat my food.
This nigga ready to go.
It's just like,
it's okay. You ready to go.
It's just like, I don't know. It's just more so irksome. It's just like, yo, just acknowledge what y'all do. I only eat that one thing.
Listen.
As you sitting here eating something different.
Go ahead. You know you want it.
This
I was
tastes
good
like grapefruit. It's delicious.
That weed? Oh man, I wish I could smoke. I want to be cool so bad.
Why can't you?
it. Because I'm going to sit here stuck. Y'all not going to get a show out of me. I'm just going to.
Oh. Well, that's also true of me.
Yep. You want me to work?
You're going to be sitting up here looking at us like,
No.
why aren't you guys having conversations?
Me to pick.
Duh.
I don't understand. How you asked me? She asked me to pick, and then don't go with what I. That's what the fuck did I get an option for? A false ass hope for no reason. I got it. Ghetto. Anyway, back to fucking manhood. Oh shit. You don't know what manhood is.
Oh, I mean, I just don't have I suppose it is a variable and personal definition that varies from culture to culture, people to people, and so on and so forth.
Not meant for you.
For me, it's just handling your shit. But I guess that's technically adulthood, but honestly, by the sheer amount of people who just can't do that basic thing, I think that's a large enough hurdle as it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
think that the fact that they strip people of these titles strips you of your responsibility, and then it can be whatever the fuck you make of it. And I understand different cultures and everything, but I don't know about Swahili culture. I know about American culture, and I know what's important to me. And when they start stripping away and start relegating it down to, oh, it could be this and it could be that, and that, then you start missing the meaning of it. And if it ain't got no meaning, it don't matter. And that's something that really, like, even being a woman is really important in defining what that means, because can't nobody take it away from you if you have something to look forward to and goals to really accomplish. So I think that's really important to have people think about what is manhood and what is womanhood as well. So you have an attainable goal to go for, so you can provide meaning to your life. I don't think we should just write it off as blasé. Then who are you after that? You know, what do you have to really accomplish rather than just like being a worker and, you know, doing whatever? Yeah.
I mean,
I guess, what do you stand on? Like, what? Yeah, like,
because if I didn't
what
have
is
nothing
to
to
your
stand
character,
on,
your depth, and like who you are as a person? And you might not quantify that as manhood, but that might be like,
I mean, that's the thing. Maybe there's a definition that I ascribe to, but that everyone else would describe as my definition
you call it
of
like
manhood.
your life code, your
But
code of life
is it-
conduct, how you should just behave in life.
Like
Maybe.
how you should, like, maybe just the way I believe that I should execute would be like everyone's definition of manhood. Is just like, because there's some things that they went through that Andrew Tate 41 things that he believes that should be, and there's some things that I honestly do agree with. Like, yo, you got to stick to your word. You got to do what you say you're going to do. You have to actually be a bonus to those that are around you, and don't be a detriment. And I try and ascribe to be quite a few of those things. Like, I think Tony could say, like, in general, I try and lift the people up that are around me.
Yeah.
I try and execute and use my tools and actually help the people who are around me. And I try my damnedest not to be a detriment. That is actually a thing that I am mortified of at all points in time. I don't like holding other people back. I just don't. Unless there's a damn good reason. It's just like, and I don't necessarily think of that as holding you back. I think of that just giving you good advice at this point. Like, maybe it's not holding you back. If I'm holding you from walking off a cliff, that's something I should actually do.
Yeah.
But maybe I just don't see it. Maybe you got a glider on it. You can just kind of like hop over this crevasse. Maybe you got some other tools that I don't have. And that's when we have to have a conversation about things. But it's just like, I don't know. Maybe I do have an inherent definition of manhood, but there's also like, maybe there are things that I've seen or I've heard of my grandfather doing and my father doing, and other stuff that I see that they've done that I want no parts of. Like, I pretty much have two archetypes of people, different archetypes of people that I pretty much ascribe to be, because like from my description of my paternal grandfather, that's pretty much everything I would want to be as a husband. It's just like, what did you do? Like, once I was married, I've done every single thing to set up pretty much the next 2 to 3 generations of my family, to set them up and knock it out the park. It's just like, this crap's easy. Your life is way easier because of my existence. We have an ancestral home that's paid off, and all you have to do is pay taxes on it. Like, and for a lot of people, they don't necessarily understand that. It's just like, oh, we got this house that's completely and totally paid off, and it's been paid off for 70 to 80 plus years. And there's just like, well, what big deal is that? They bought this house for like $20,000. You know how much this house is worth now? $330. That is appreciated in value, and that is something that we could say our family has, and we can, as long as we take care of our shit, we're always gonna have it. There's always a place for everybody to come back to if they need to come back.
Okay, so it seems like you have excuse me. You have like a code of like manhood that you just haven't really like
Codified or quantified, I guess, is the more so the thing.
Yeah, it's just something that you kind of like go with.
Yeah, it's something I guess is more so intertwined with my decision making skills. It's just like, it's just codified in who I am and what I do. So yeah, I don't really.
You need to make a list.
No, I hate that.
You want a list?
Why not?
I don't like lists. Feel like such, as a sports consumer, lists are such low effort things. It's just something that someone does that you know everybody gonna click on.
No, I think more so like just to have something to look at, so you just always remember your ideals. I don't think you need it. You don't need it.
I don't think I need a list to come. I mean, maybe me making a list forces me to quantify them, and I can't really flake out on them as easy.
Flake out. You have to keep going. You have to have somewhere so you can always be like, when you get off track, you have something. Oh, what was my? You know what I'm saying? It works for me because now I'm just like, all right, what's the goal?
I can see it. Yeah. It's like, it's not the most outlandish thing. If I'm making a list for myself and not to just be like, these are my ideals of manliness, YouTube, and if you do not agree with them, you are not a man. I know it sounds cartoonish,
but the state of men today, and like I said, we can argue it's been going on for decades. Somebody always been arguing about, oh, what happened to manhood? And what happened? These bitches ain't the same as they was in 1879. And they said that in 1929. I'm 1,000% sure this debate has been going on far before I've been here and far after I've gone. But
I mean, you can argue it's about morality, it's about ethics, it's about action. There's probably a combination of a lot of things that have happened to manhood, or it's just kind of evolved with the evolution of those that are around it. Like when I was talking about earlier, whether or not I want to pay all of my household's bills. It's just like, it depends upon the type of relationship that I have with my wife. Because if I'm the only person working, I'm paying all the bills. But if we're both working and we want to be like 100% real and make sure all of this stuff happens fair, we got to pretty much set a budget. And then what I want to do is set a budget, set our savings aside, set up everything that we want to do. And then in order for us each individually to get our own spending money, what I would do is I would just take whatever we both make it, what we both have left over, combine it, and then split it. Like, so there is no necessarily embitterment, because it's just like, if we just split the bill straight down the middle and one person makes a decent amount more than the other, well, one person's always going to have more money and one person's always going to have less. I don't necessarily like that kind of embittering type of feeling. So like, we did it, we split it, and we have our like weekly spending money, and then everything's cool, or bi-weekly spending money, or so on and so forth. But that's kind of my thought process, is that we're a team. I'm not necessarily like, if we all the way a team, we all the way our team, our pools aren't necessarily separate. I can understand why some people like to have separate pools, but I don't necessarily see that. And I need to have a person that, if we going all the way in like that, I can trust you to that capacity. Like, I know you're not going to be out, what'd you do? I went out and spent $100. I saw we had $20,000 in the bank account, so I went and bought myself a Prada bag. It's just like, I'm going to take that bag back. You do not need a Prada bag. If you took your own spending money and you saved up to get yourself this bag, whatever. But you don't spend the house money on some random Fenty makeup products or whatever strikes your fancy at the time.
Yeah. See, that's predicated on the difference there for me would be that being a man and woman is equal. And then that should be some sort of fairness there. And I just don't think that we're created equal. So we're not going to be treated equally. So me going into that with another man is just dumb. Like, the fact that y'all like working the way y'all do, and I don't like working like that, clearly you've added an advantage in the workplace, ain't you? So that puts me at a disadvantage in the motherfucking
I don't
workplace.
know. Like, I know a lot of women who enjoy their work.
Yeah, but not like how y'all like working. You know what I mean? That's like y'all focus is work. Y'all really are defined by the work that y'all do. Women are not. We could not work and we're not defined by that. Men are defined by what they be putting out in the world. Women have the luxury of not being defined by that. And it also got its drawbacks, obviously, but the fact, and then that y'all really can be focused and like it, and then y'all emotions won't usually get wrapped up in it like how we would, and we don't have to turn a part of ourselves off to compete in the workplace. That ain't working for y'all. Y'all go there, y'all do your job, and y'all most likely will get it done, right? I mean, men ain't usually the ones bitching about stuff, usually, unless it's a for real problem that's embarking on your work. It's usually women that usually are mostly complaining. And I should know, I worked in an office where it was one fucking dude and he was not the manager. The niggas that owned the company, they were the only men, but everything was mostly run by women. And I hated that shit because it was nothing really, we did good on numbers and everything, but when it came to problem solving, let me tell you.
You just needed somebody to be like,
too many opinions and not enough decision making.
Exactly. Like, we need to do this. Oh, tell me how you feel about that. And then every bitch will tell you how they feel about everything.
How are we solving this problem?
Yeah, like it's no real
this a
direction
solution?
there.
But I'm not sure. Like, I feel like we got a solution. There's no more discussion needed.
You see what I'm saying?
done.
Y'all just thrive better.
No
Not
more
better.
feeling.
It's just the way, it's just a real masculine quality to have that focus on work.
I don't know, but I was inside of an office with a bunch of dudes and they all enjoyed having meetings way too much for my liking. It's just like,
because y'all could kick around and try to problem solve, which is an inherently
they don't
masculine
be out here
trait.
problem solving. They be out here talking about, it's just like, I don't know. It was weird. It was just like, it was an hour. I like the way my current job is set up to a point where it's just like, yo, we touch bases for like 10, 15 minutes, possibly up to 30. Say what's going on, what's happening, what's up. Anybody got any problems? If you got no problems, peace. We out. We'll see each other tomorrow.
What you was talking about was probably an outlier to what be more majority going on. Motherfuckers trying to solve a problem in a meeting.
No, I was gonna say I like more of the first one that he's talking about. Like, we'll come there and we'll sit down for like a meeting and talk for like an hour, and we'll have something that we're working on and things like that. But we're also going to like kind of just guy around, talk some shit, engage in some other things. But I think that it's more on like building a rapport and a level of like y'all are in sync to like really execute on this the way that you should.
At the end of the day, I was trying to solve a problem, like I said.
It's like team building. Like, at least that's
how you feel about it.
I see that in the military. Well, that's one of the ways that they do it in the military. It's like a lot of like break you down, and then these are the people that you build your bond with. Same thing in the fire station is, all right, we're gonna harass you and everything like that because we're building a brotherhood with you and indoctrinating you into this. And so there's some like just talking shit, but we're still like gonna give you the information. Like, you're gonna get the knowledge inside of like as like chewing the fat with you, because it's just like it's like the guy way of like engaging in like
I get it.
Yeah.
I've been on multiple sports teams.
yeah.
It's like it's a level of indoctrination. So I get it. Like,
But I think that holds value. Is like,
as long as you're not doing it in an inherently destructive way, nobody really cares. Like,
you shouldn't be like destructive seeking with it, but I think that it can like provide like insight to like who people really are, like just different character traits that can be beneficial. Like, oh, you do
I don't
this.
know. There's just random bullshit that I can't really enjoy. But those were more so outliers, like some asshole putting fucking toothpaste in my goddamn bed. They knew that kid wasn't gonna get a goddamn bed inside on my lacrosse team. Y'all looking up here like, oh, we're going to put toothpaste in the beds. I'm trying to go to sleep. I just ran 10 fucking miles basically chasing these people with these sticks. And I'm sitting up here like, why is there toothpaste in my bed?
This nigga gotta go. You gotta go, Charles. You gotta go,
These
Charles.
goddamn
You
kids.
go off.
I'm about to beat somebody's ass. Roommate, you can't just go off and beat somebody's ass for putting toothpaste in the bed. Why can't I?
This nigga went off.
Because I mean, we were one of 4 black dudes on the entire team. So I mean, he's looking at me like, Charles, you can't do it.
That's
Why the fuck can't I? They don't understand that they've crossed the line. You understand that they've crossed the line. I understand that they've crossed the line. So why don't they just catch these hands?
No, I mean,
I'm just trying to go to sleep.
I get it. No, I trust me, I get it. They took my bed. The entire mattress. It was just gone. And filled the room with different size hoses.
I might have actually
They
just
sent me across our flight lines, do not cross zone, out to a security office forces vehicle, so other security forces would swarm me and tackle me.
what is wrong? Oh my goodness.
So no, not necessarily exact. They hid my jacket when they knew I had a meeting with the commander, and you can't go back into that portion without your top.
And then just you go back there and it's just like, well, what do you? I already know how military stuff works. It's just like,
Where's
why
your
are you
top at?
late? It's my fault, Sergeant.
No, I went with no top on time. Go get your top. All right. I don't be late. I'm gonna be on time, and then you figure out what you want me to do.
That's pretty much what you
'Cause I
came to do.
fulfilled
Put the ball in your court.
90% of my fucking thing, bucko.
Yeah. So you deal with this because y'all play too much. So no, I definitely get that it can be terrible. Because now I was mad as shit that you filled my room with water hoses and took my bed.
It's like, were they at least like kind of flat?
The hoses are wrapped up and are heavy and various sizes. There was ones that connect.
Were they like kind of sitting cat a corner or at angles in certain
they're
places?
in rolls, and they would have like stacks of them. There was like at least 50 water hoses.
Because
fire
what I was
hoses.
trying to figure out is like, could you put like the floor pad? I'm not sure if you guys get those set up and just roll it over top of it and then just get a blanket and just be like, well, this is what I'm about to be for a hot second.
Nope, they were like nice and high.
Oh,
Like,
why y'all put so much effort in this? It's just like,
because you spend the entire day there. 24 on, 24 off. So we're here every other day, the entire day. We get here at like 6 a.m. We don't leave till 6 a.m. the next day. So, and once you're here for a while, you're out of training. Not a lot to do but be here.
partly boredom. You also
Yes.
brought in Xboxes or
Yeah,
something like normal
bro.
people.
Bro. So yeah, no, I get it, but I think that as a man, you should have some type of like code, conduct, and like things that you believe in and subscribe to.
I can say that because I mean, I guess I'm more of a moral and ethical person, or at least I try and be. So it means for me to say that you don't have codified things that you should stick to and how you treat people and how you act and so on and so forth. That'd just be hypocritical.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, handbook, nigga. Without that direction, my mother, this was when I was like, I don't know, 18 or 19. No, this is when my gym teacher was just pregnant as fuck, but she was married. But like, she had 4 kids, and like, we was all talking about it. It's like, how do you have all those kids, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, I know how to plan them out. So I'm like, I never heard that concept before. I'm
we're
like,
just planning
plan out
kids.
having children. No one ever explained this to me in my household. Obviously, like, never mind, I ain't gonna go into that. But I go home and I'm like, Mom, I think I'm gonna plan out having my kids. She was like, only white people do that shit. Black people don't plan out having kids. And I'm like, so from then on, the thing in my mind was, you don't have a plan. You're just winging this whole thing from beginning to end. And I'm like,
that was a negative reinforced thing that is
sure
also not true.
That's also fucking
it's just like,
was.
what are you talking about? All the black people.
Because now when I start to realize after I hit 25, it's better to have a fucking plan than to just sit there. Because when you're winging it, you'll just get anything. And then it's just not so much meaningless. You just think like you have no for real control. And that's when I start thinking, oh, what she said to me was 100% wrong. Have a fucking plan. And don't just like accept things as they come. And that's why I think things like this is really important, to just keep your mind fucking clear, because you gon' fall off. That's the thing. People think like you're gonna be on highs all the time. No, this shit is written for when you fall the fuck off. If you remember why you doing what the fuck you doing, so you can keep going. And nothing can really shake you at your core.
It's like having bumpers on the bowling thing.
Yeah, no one could come into your life and tell you different, because you've solidified something within yourself. Who gonna tell you that, oh, you can't be doing this, you can't be doing that? No one. No, I'm on this. And if it's wrong, have the courage to change. But for the most part, manhood is defined by other men. And we can't do it for them. They have to give it to each other. They got to get that badge on it to themselves.
Like,
and if I ain't got nothing to go off of,
there were
what the
some
fuck
things
is the
that
point?
were said, like, behave in a way that my ancestors believed they will be proud of me for. It's just like, depending upon who you are and what ancestors.
Right.
No, I like that, because he said behave in a way that most of my ancestors. So he made sure to distinguish
There's
that.
definitely some
Some of you,
ancestors.
some of
in there.
y'all, yeah, some of y'all, I'm
I'm really
not.
proud because
It's less like,
Some of y'all I don't want y'all modeling after.
yeah, so I like that he made that distinction, because that was important to me. Because if he had said no, all my ancestors, it's like, you're a caucus man.
one of your ancestors definitely up there like, hey, why you out here running around with these ninjas?
Yep.
I'm just not. Yeah, some of y'all just stood there and took it. I'm like, sometimes I guess that's maybe necessary. In other situations, I wouldn't want to be looking up to niggas that just didn't fight for anything. I'm not looking up to them.
Be a man.
Yeah,
you can't.
Just be a man.
like them civil rights niggas. I don't know. I don't 100% know about the civil rights niggas. I don't know if I would want to look up to them. I just feel like they did this not the greatest of services.
What do you mean?
I feel like it's the niggas after them.
After them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the niggas that just gave up. They got their shit and they was just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I got to
The
be a
civil rights
white
niggas
woman.
actually got shit changed, and then the next
I
wave of
blame
niggas was
everybody.
like, oh, this is nice.
Nah, I feel like
I
the civil rights
blame-
was a sham and niggas bought into that shit. Not to say I agree with just like segregation on it. Not for that corny reason why niggas think, oh shit. Not for that. Not for that. It's the mentality that they built up in us and that you said led to that generation. So
I mean, I'm more
yes, I
so
do
looking
agree.
at Generation X. It's just like, y'all inside the process of like, you guys had like a 30. I've never seen something go so goddamn crooked in like 30 years. And I'm talking about like post civil rights. That means from 70s to 2000s.
yeah.
Yeah, I want to know something crazy.
Mm.
I've had older people apologize to me.
Yeah.
Like, be like, it was us. I don't know where we went wrong, but we did, and I'm sorry.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, wow.
Like,
That's because
Because even
he has
talking-
like kids my age, and like me and him are like good buddies, and so it's just like he's older, and I guess just like seeing it. And I guess he's seen me since I was like 18, because like my very first job I worked with him and shit, and so he was just like, yeah, nah, he's like, we fucked up. And I was like, yeah,
y'all got handed the ball.
Yeah,
Y'all
yeah,
thought
yeah.
everything was cool.
that shit was sweet. And the other team was, oh, y'all easy money. Run this score up.
That's why them civil rights niggas, like, I guess I'm grateful for going to a library that I wasn't supposed to go to before. I'm grateful for that. But in the overarching thing, them niggas is at fault for making them niggas that y'all talking about now. So
I mean, I wouldn't even say that because, I mean, even looking at my grandfather's generation is just like they definitely did pretty much gave that generation all the mechanisms that they probably needed to execute on it. They just didn't.
but don't that speak to your mentality that they gave to somebody? That's stupid to give somebody a tool and be like, here, use it. but they mental not right. What sense do that make? So
I mean, if you give someone, I mean, the tools, including the mental capability and the understanding of things, like I've never seen an entire group of people go from like my grandfather didn't go to the military until after World War II finished.
Mm-hmm.
Went through a bunch of crap, and it's just like, and then it's just like, oh, hand this off to my father, and the entire generation is just like, what are y'all out here doing? Y'all still out here running around with like questionable to like, is like y'all are still running around with questionable to like just straight up bad or uninformed
not as an excuse, but I'll say this. The civil rights niggas probably didn't have a full grasp of what removing segregation was really going to do. Yeah. Because we didn't have any industry at that time. And so not controlling any industry kind of pigeonholes how much you really can make, because you can't create anything. So at all points, you're a buyer. Because like if you produce steel, electricity, gas, something like that, then that's when you're getting into like real production industry. People have to come to you for them to even get started on creation.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have any industry that like we could control or be allowed to have access to. So I think being allowed access to industry was probably a beneficial thing. But I also recognize that we lost sight of we want to be American so bad because we don't have another identity.
Which is fine.
No, but it makes us people pleasers. And inherently, we want to be the American. And so we lose sight of, hey, we kind of got to look out for self because no one else is going to look out for self. And then we don't. And then we're left stranded because we're like, fuck.
They're not looking out for us.
They're not looking out for us. And I ain't look out for me either.
Right. Which is.
And then crack.
I mean, it's a point that my aunt made is that getting rid of segregation, and when we got rid of segregation, not that saying is we would rather it be the other way, we lost all sense of community inside of that same instance. Yeah. Because we were so occupied and
as I said, we were too
occupied
to be Americans.
Getting into their community that we lost our own sense and we lost our own.
Right. What would be the fucking point if, as a man, right? Because that's your first safeguard in your community is going to be the dudes, because most likely they stronger enough to fight. If the niggas in your community think that it's a free for all and now I can go get the things that I've quote unquote thought I was being denied before. Like I thought about it with quote unquote poor people. So say you have some weird random tribe in God knows wherever, and you come and like you got a cell phone. Now they didn't have nothing to compare they resources or anything with. Someone has to tell them, oh, they start drilling into your mind like you're poor because you don't have this. So now that's what I wonder, is that what happened with us? Is someone convinced us that because you don't have this, you are now less than? And that's what kind of makes
this type of mentality.
Yeah, because I hear from somebody who was talking about how he picked cotton in like the 40s or 50s or some shit like that. And he was like, I was fine with that. That's just how we made our money. And apparently Jim Crow laws were already kind of on their way out at this time. So for me to see that, it's like, well, someone got into your head. And I'm like, you can't, at this point, I'm not going to blame nobody. I'm sure just think it's stupid. But now I just think like, what was your mentality at to think that you could just rally up against people and just look at what you had and said it just wasn't good enough? That's what bothers me. How did you let someone
it's more so you were lacking
you?
Some fundamental or basic amenities.
But would you not know if somebody was not in your face telling you about it?
That's unfair.
Mm-hmm.
No one's in our face telling us about it. We literally live in a country where we see the duality every day. So no, you don't have to tell us, because I walk out of my door and then I see it. I feel the difference. I breathe the difference. I acutely recognize that
Drink the difference, hell.
this book that is supposed to be our history is 5 pages when the history books over there are 20 pages. Y'all don't have to tell me. I just can see it. So it's not so much.
But if
as,
you poor, you usually don't have access to the other things. So it couldn't have been that bad is what I'm trying to.
But no, we weren't poor. That's the problem. When during segregation, it's not that we were poor, is why we wanted to go to the other side. We wanted to go to the other side because they had access to more.
But how would you know?
Because we're in this literally
Because
in the
their
same
school books are from
city.
1965, where our school books are from
Who
1950.
showed you? How did you get access to the side that you didn't have access to? That's what I'm trying to understand. Like, was it through advertisements? I can understand that. But if you don't know where you are, how do you know what's on the other side? Who told you that it was so much better on the other side? Someone must have been coming over and be like, did y'all know our books was like this and their books was like this? What? Let me go see more. What would make you interested in the other side,
Well,
I guess?
I guess more so.
Besides advertisements, yeah. But if y'all painting this picture to me like we only had 5-page books and we didn't have this and our water was dirty, I don't see how those people have access to something that's
not
different.
what I said. He said water was dirty. I never said. What I'm saying is they didn't have updated history books and just textbooks in general through the schools, but they weren't poor, because when you can't spend money with the other people, you spend money in your community. So the money never leaves. So it continues to circulate and grow. So that's why our communities were rich. Right. So breaking segregation wasn't only a black thing. Intelligent whites knew, hey, if we get their communities broken up, that money flows into our pockets now. So I get what you're saying, that it probably wasn't the best thing, but I'm saying that no one has to really tell you if I live on 105 because that's where I can buy a house, and you live on 116th and I got to take the bus, and I can just see the difference in my neighborhood, because back then that was a good area. So I can see how I live in a shitty, smaller area and you have access to more. You don't have to tell me that. I can see it because we live in the same city. We live side by side in a place of duality, where what you're talking about is people who are on a remote island who don't literally have access to this information. It's not that you have to tell us so much as it's put into your face. But I also think that that's why we're so focused on being Americans, but I don't blame us, because that's what we are. We're not Africans. We were
that's
born
what
here
you
and
are.
created here, and so we are Americans. So wanting that makes sense, but they want it so much that it's
at a detriment to other things.
Sometimes a detriment to self.
I mean, as I've thought, and if my overall goal, if I were to actually get any money, would actually be to help to redistribute wealth. Not necessarily it's not the typical thing, because the weird thing is, just like what Tony was saying, we had an insular community. So what will basically quintessentially happen is there will be a lot of people who also work for black owned businesses, but there will be black people working in the community, and they go out and they work for Caucasian or white owned businesses, and then they take their money because they could only spend it within their community, bring their money, and then bring it back within the community, and thus the community grows. Now, quintessentially, we're taking our money, we're taking it outside of the community, spending it outside of the community, and not bringing anything back in. That's the reason why places like Cleveland and stuff like that struggle, because it's just like, well, where's all the money at? We're purposely spending it outward because all the things that we desire and are like quote unquote status items aren't from in our community. They're outside of our community. It's just like, you don't got a Gucci store near 131st. You got to go out to Beechwood to go to the Gucci store. You spend your money in Beechwood. Your tax money goes to Beechwood, and then they keep their money in Beechwood. So We quintessentially have to re-inverse that and also value our own creations more, because that's the other things. Like, we don't, when you have like, I don't know, a black owned clothing brand that's built within your thing, or some place that serves perfectly good button up shirts that aren't polo or anything like that, we got to stop looking at them like they're lesser than. It's just like, oh, this is a black owned business who makes polos, but they're not polos, so that means they're lesser than regular polos. Like, no, I mean, it's a 3-button shirt with a pocket on it. For all intents and purposes, they're the same damn thing.
Yeah.
So what's the difference? What does it have to do with the whole? This is Polo Association. It's not really polo. I mean, okay. Does it really matter to you? I mean, it's about the look. It's about the feel. It's about the like swag of the whole thing. Yeah, you better go sit yourself down somewhere. It's like, hell, yo dashiki, yo weird kente cloth hat. Where does that say it's made?
Made in China.
You don't even buy yo kente cloth hats from a locally sourced thing.
Or Africa.
Yeah, I have a whole different thing, because it's not like a lot of people from African, or depending upon where you are, they have slurs for American blacks.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm not even.
They don't fuck with us.
Yeah. I remember having I had that conversation with you. It's just like, when I was explaining that, it's just like, oh, well, fuck them too.
Yeah, we different. I don't understand. Like,
like the entire Marcus Garvey Back to Africa movement is just like, I don't want to go back to Africa. I know nothing about life in Africa.
Nick, we just different. We're inherently not a different human being, but your culture, everything about you is just different, dude. Sorry, we don't relate. You know what niggas do after they fuck bitches? Not on no like escort or anything that in Africa, they just leave money. Not because like you a escort or nothing. That's just what they do. Somebody programmed into them to give you money after they fuck you. And I'm like, man, wouldn't that be a great fucking culture for you niggas at that? But that's just not how y'all operate. Okay. You know, you can't be mad at it, but it's just an inherently different thing.
We supposed to throw down a ninja smoke ball and disappear afterwards.
Yeah, hey. That sounds like a good beneficial, right? Something in them, someone told them, those African men, leave her a decent amount of money and you're just going about your day.
Why? She make my day better, I make her day better.
Exactly. I don't know what it is, but it's just different.
I did
hear that they like to play like that out there. Like,
yeah.
Like, if they fucking with you, like, niggas that just come up and just had you a whole stack, even if you with another nigga, but like, nah, I got more money. And it's like,
sounds great. Sounds like so. But they don't like nobody my skin tone. They just like, they don't. I've never seen one that just looked at me like I was the greatest dish ever. They just like deeper skin tones, which is good.
We have been tainted.
Let them have it.
Been tainted. I'm so bad.
You have freckles. That is Irish. You're not African. You are Afrikaans. You're an Irishman.
That's fine. I don't know. I just remember seeing them inside the food court one time. They whole heads turned for that girl. And I wasn't looking. I wasn't dressed anyway. But I just remember thinking, oh, wow.
Nigerian bread is pretty good. That's one thing I can give you.
I do not exist.
I can eat that shit by the loaf. Delicious.
I do not exist in. Okay.
We exist to Americans. That's where you're at, so.
The Africans do not see me. They do not see me. They do not participate in whatever this is I'm having. That's okay, I guess.
I got nothing for you.
It's okay, I think. I don't know.
Us light-skinned just gotta stay together.
I agree, but they're gonna be mad that you said that. So
what? As a person who's been light-skinned his entire life, there's this weird feeling. I don't know. This entire conversation around this is just like, oh, you think you're better than us because you're light-skinned? No, I don't care.
It's always them like, niggas that's telling us what we feel.
It's like, I don't care. You think you fit in with them? No, I don't.
You're saying this, not me. It's always
Like, you know
them
what
niggas.
happens when they get a tan? They turn orange. You know what color I am? I am brown. Like, unless they have legit olive skin and because they're from Greece or they're from like some place that's actually interesting, and not from like a fully European country because there was a bunch of Moors running through there. And it's just like, oh, by the way, if you don't know, when someone calls somebody a Moor inside like traditional Shakespeare's or like English stuff, that's calling somebody a black person.
Yeah, I did tell Riley that the other day because we was watching a documentary on something. Oh, we was watching one of our food channels and he was talking about how the Spanish got paella and he was saying like, oh, the Moors and the Muslims. And I'm like, well, Riley, whenever you hear somebody say Moor Muslim, he's talking about niggas from Africa, okay? They came up from the northern Africas and they start conquering that area. She's like, oh, is there a difference? I'm like, when they say Muslim, it's a religion. But that's when they use those, they always using those two interchangeably because they got some weird ass stigma against just admitting.
Muslims can mean like the Middle Eastern and so forth, so on and so forth. But at that point in time, the documentation is so loose because they've legitimately, it's just like these dark-skinned people are coming up here beating our asses and they know how to wash themselves. God damn.
They had to fuck they had to fuck those women. Like they had to like civilize that area by fucking them. Them niggas was not playing. Like they was raping bitches. I'm sorry. But the motherfuckers on the Eastern slave trade came up through European to civilize that civilization. One of the ways you could do that is by dicking down. You could just dick down a whole bunch of Caucasus. And I'm sorry, I don't know any other way. Y'all know a way to civilize a civilization?
It's just like,
you could teach them, or you could just give them a baby.
So what you saying? They done dick these women down to the point where they started using soap. It's just like use that soap. God damn, you smell like curdled milk.
What was that milkmaid shit? That blonde hair, green eyes is now dark skin, blue eyes. Ain't it? Touch a little something going on in there. They fashion and shit. Come on now. Listen. What?
We coming Norway.
Watch white niggas now. Whoever thought like you looked at a crocodile and was like, we should put him on our feet. Nigga, what? Yeah, don't that shit look good though? Who you know out here?
I do not like the look of gator shoes.
But that's some nigga shit for real to be like
gator boots.
We should catch it.
With your pimped out Gucci.
What nigga you know out here got Crocs on their feet? Nigga, you crazy. Watch me. That's some black. Like,
when you said Crocs, I thought about the
shit.
actual like regular Crocs that are like made out of
the
foam.
Creativity there. Come on now.
Boots with
but that's okay.
Out Gucci suit.
I have nothing against my Caucasian people. I love
them. I'm leaving now.
And I live why
goodbye.
And pay my rent. Like, comment, subscribe.
Don't do that. I'm not sure. Don't sing.
Bye.